My Gaming Edge.
Hey guys, this is TheFragile with My Gaming Edge, and today I'm going to be showing you a classic mix-up versus the experiment on Snakewater. What I am going to be showing you of this demo is the mid-fights, not all the mid-fights, just the first few. Not only am I going to show you some of the key aspects about each mid and how and why certain things happen and everything like that, I'm going to show you how that affects each mid thereafter, which I think is a very important thing in this demo, as well as in any scrim or match that you can possibly play in. So I'm actually going to, before I unpause, I just want to let you know that I'm playing this at 50% speed, just so all the mids aren't at full speed, because these mids are actually kind of fast-paced on this map. They happen very, very quickly, and it's kind of like too fast to talk about in real time. So I'm going to put this at 50%, and I'm going to unpause right here. Ducky is the first one here, so he gets off the very initial sticky, which is always important. Pretty much it's just about gaining ground right now and just establishing ground, as I should say, until everyone gets here. Now, classic mix-up, their soldiers are being aggressive right off the bat. Only problem is that when they kind of establish their ground on EX's shed and on top of mid, they EX kind of sort of, their soldiers get in back of them and cause a mess, and that actually causes a classic mix-up to lose the round. There's only just a scout and a demo left now, just the scout left for classic mix-up, and he's gonna die in like 5 seconds. So I'm actually just gonna pause after he dies, which is like now. Pretty much the reason why EX won that mid is because classic mix-up, their one soldier, once all 6 guys got to mid, their one soldier jumped onto EX's shed, and the other soldier jumped on top of mid, on top of the logs. This is actually a fairly good way to hold your ground, because you're holding pretty much all important parts of the mid. So pretty much EX is only really bound to either countering by jumping on top of the person that's standing on whatever it is they're standing on, or being forced to stay on the ground. And if you're forced to stay on the grounds, then you know, you will either get pushed out or you'll get really hurt, thus the height advantage. What happened was one soldier got in back of both of the soldiers and kind of just got in the face of classic mix-up and did a ton of damage, and the other soldier jumped on top of the one on the logs unexpectedly and caused him to be distracted. And by the time that the soldier on the shed noticed this and he tried to turn around, the damage has already been done. So EX kind of did a counter-aggressive strat on top of classic mix-up's strat, which definitely won them the round there, because the two soldiers kind of just got in back of the two classic mix-up soldiers and got in the face of their combo. Because usually when you do an aggressive strat like this, especially when both soldiers are being aggressive here, your combo has to play a little bit up. Whereas when EX saw that classic mix-up was being aggressive, their combo played, or at least their medic, played a little bit back, because he didn't want to be in the face of the soldiers, because surely that's what the soldiers were looking for there. So since classic mix-up had to play up, since they were being the aggressive ones, the EX soldiers got in back of the classic mix-up soldiers and got in their face and got some kills, which definitely gave them the round right there. So that's how that worked. Now let's go to the next round. Alright, now here we're at the second round, and I'm just going to unpause. And Ducky again will be the first one to mid, and that's, I guess, only truly important in the sense that he gets to establish that ground and presence first before anyone really, and to get off the initial damage, of course. Now, what Classic Mix-Up is going to do here is, once they get all 6 to mid, which is right about now, they're going to go crazy aggressive. And as you can see right now, the both soldiers jump, and the both scouts go, and the demo and medic play on point, and the demo is just spamming them back. Now, what's happening here is that Classic Mix-Up's being really, really, really aggressive, but they didn't manage to get any kills, because what they were looking for there not only was for to get a kill regardless. I'm going to pause here. Not only to get a kill regardless, but definitely to get a big pick like a demo or a soldier pick, or best yet, a medic pick. But again, EX's med saw, hey, they're being really, really aggressive. There's no reason for me to be out in the open in the face of 5 other guys that are trying to kill me, when I'm just going to back up and heal at a good angle. That was the good thing to do, because that's one less target for the enemies to shoot at. And being the medic, you want to heal at an angle where you can't get hurt, and to keep everyone alive. And in that spot, of course, everyone needs to be healed incredibly, since Classic Mix-Up's going really, really aggressive. The problem is that Classic Mix-Up didn't get any kills, and in fact they did do a decent amount of damage, but it was again more of a thing of Classic Mix-Up being really, really infatuated with that lobby area, that where the medic was and everything like that. But again, EX gets in back of the people that are up in the on the front, and they end up getting a medic pick, and they're in back of them. So what that means is, now that EX has pretty much gotten that med pick, and since the med was on the point, now you have EX sandwiching Classic Mix-Up, which is a complete disaster for Classic Mix-Up. Like, they were pretty much doomed the moment that happened. So that's really, really not good, obviously, and that's the second mid in a row that Classic Mix-Up has wiped. And pretty much when you wipe it mid, especially that quickly, you're going to almost certainly lose the round, unless the medic gets picked randomly on the way, or there's some sort of amazing factor that the team can put in. But it's not bad that Classic Mix-Up tried to do that ultra aggressive strat. It's just that when they're doing it, they're getting overtaken, like from the side or from underneath, or whatever the case is, underneath, because some of the guys were on top of the logs in the shed, obviously. So what they need to do this round, this upcoming round, and this is what they're going to do, is not be ultra aggressive, or not really be aggressive at all. It's okay to hold the top ground on top of the logs to have territory, but the first round where they were being slightly aggressive, that didn't really work in their favor, and when they were being ultra aggressive, that didn't work in their favor at all. So let's go to the next round and see how that works out. Alright, we're at the next round, and again, this is kinda sorta where the mind games come into play. If I were on the experiment, which I am, but not in this match, of course, but if I were on the experiment, or whatever team this would be going against Classic Mix-Up here, I would almost certainly have to know that there's virtually no way that Classic Mix-Up is going to be aggressive here, almost at all. Because again, the first round they were a little aggressive, that didn't work. Second round, they were really aggressive, that didn't work. Both times they got wiped. So now Classic Mix-Up isn't looking. Classic Mix-Up's goal right now, obviously, is to win mid, but at worst is to not wipe. Which, if they're being passive, or at least not really aggressive, it's kind of difficult to wipe when you're not trying to go all out. So I'm going to unpause here. And actually in this round, if I remember right, yeah, Ducky wasn't quite as fast. I'm not sure if he missed a jump or if because, you know, they wanted to be just slower this round. Everyone's in mid now, and as you can see, Classic Mix-Up isn't really trying to gain any sort of territory except for their own. They're not really trying to get up top. They're just trying to stay on the ground and just, I guess, kind of do a blobbing sort of thing. There is the one soldier here that jumps and is aggressive, and then the other soldier follows up as well. That was being aggressive, but I liked Classic Mix-Up's mid here a lot more than the previous two. But again, this mid is looking pretty bleak for Classic Mix-Up here, and in fact they are going to lose everyone, except for their one scout, yeah, who's running away, which is a smart thing. They didn't wipe entirely, but you might as well say that they did because they just only have a random scout, which he will hopefully make them pop or something prior to the push, but we're not really going to go into that because that would be just going outside of the mid fights. That mid I liked a ton better from Classic Mix-Up, but I'm not saying that Classic Mix-Up should always play this way. I'm not saying any team should always play this way. But I like that a lot better because, first of all, and again, this is also going further into the mind games of things, Classic Mix-Up was being really passive. Really passive at first. In fact, the experiment were they had one or two scouts on top of the logs at pretty much all times, and Classic Mix-Up didn't really hold their own territory. They kind of just stayed on the ground towards their shed and just chilled there for a while. And as I predicted, or well, I mean, I watched the demo, but Classic Mix-Up is going to be really passive. They're not going to be almost aggressive at all. However, that was the case, but midway through that, they had a soldier jump aggressively onto EX's combo. I like that because that would have fooled me, because I thought Classic Mix-Up was just going to be completely chill and just play almost like EX did, where it's just kind of like a thing of let them come to us and then we'll counterattack. And EX actually didn't really become too aggressive. I would say they were probably more aggressive than Classic Mix-Up was before the soldier on Classic Mix-Up jumped. And then the soldier followed up with that jump, which I also like, but they couldn't kill the medic or their combo or anything like that, unfortunately, so it didn't really work out for them. But I did like that mid a lot better from Classic Mix-Up. If you're wondering why I'm mostly reviewing what Classic Mix-Up is doing, and that's simply because Classic Mix-Up is, first of all, the aggressors. They're pretty much deciding how they want mid to happen, in the sense that they're pretty much the people that are picking the fights, which, you know, the first two, they were being really aggressive. And then the third one, it was kind of just passive on both sides, and then Classic Mix-Up went right in and initiated the bigger fight. And also because Classic Mix-Up has lost all three mids thus far. Pretty much after you lose your third mid in a row, you really just need to reconsider everything. And actually, before I even go into that, I'm going to talk about this right before the start of the next round, so let's go to that real quick. Alright, and here is the the fourth round, which Experiment is now leading the half 3-0. But before I go into it, when you're down 3-0 like that, or perhaps regardless of what the score is, if you're just really, really, really struggling on mid, or even if you aren't struggling on mid, but in this case, let's just talk about Classic Mix-Up. When you're down like that, and especially when it's halftime and you have the option, or the choice rather, to ready up, I personally, if I was in their shoes, I wouldn't even ready up until everyone knew what they were doing. And I say that in the sense that what I would do, and I have done this before, in fact I did it in the at the Season 7 ESCA LAN finals, in the finals. They're on one of the maps against MGE, I think. I didn't ready up until everyone knew what they were doing, and I say that because what I did is I stopped and I said, why are we losing, or what's the case, what's going on, and everyone will talk about it. Now, this is something that you should probably be doing when a round ends and before you get to mid, like in that, I don't know, 10-second like time of where no one can really move, between when the round ends and when you can actually move, and maybe a few seconds after you can move. During that time, you should ideally be talking about it and what you guys should be doing, and why certain stuff is working and why certain stuff is not working. This should be something you should be doing regardless of the situation. In this case, and what Classic Mix-Up actually did is that they didn't ready up for like a good minute and a half, 2 minutes, or something like that. I don't know if it's because someone walked away or not, but I like that because not only does it slow down the momentum of the Experiment, or whatever team this is in this case, but you can actually talk about it and understand everything. So everyone's on the same page, and it's not just an instant ready up and go, okay, stop sucking on mid, and not really talk about it. With that in mind, I'm going to unpause here. And now EX is on red and Classic Mix-Up's on blue. And EX got the mid a little quicker in general, but even though Ducky got the mid first. But again, it's looking pretty neutral. In fact, EX is being a little more aggressive right now, since they're holding the top territory mostly. What I did not like there, and actually I'm going to pause right here before anything happens. Pause. Ducky was on midpoint shooting stickies or whatever, and he was just shooting at the Experiment guys, which were kind of in front of the entrance to the house. And I guess Ducky got a ton of damage on Dummy, and then Ducky went really, 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 really aggressive. He plus forward Dummy as he was trying to run towards the health pack inside of the house to get the kill. That's cool, but the only problem is that Ducky, after that was said and done, and he did get the kill on Dummy, but he was in front of 3 other EX players, even though one of them was their medic, right then and there. Like, he was literally like right in their face, practically touching them. I don't like this play because you're pretty much trading a demo man for a demo man, and I don't think that was a worthy trade unless Classic Mix-Up was under the impression that they think that they would win a fight that's like 4v4 or 5v5 rather than 6v6. Plus, I think that Dummy wasn't necessarily the big reason why they were losing every single mid. I think it was just because of the Classic Mix-Up aggression being nullified by people just kind of going around their aggression and I don't think Dummy was one of the key players in going around there. He kind of just stood around and dealt out damage and was playing on the defensive. Whereas I think Ducky was a very integral part of Classic Mix-Up's mids, or at least in succeeding. So I didn't like that, and what ended up happening is Ducky killed Dummy, and then TLR killed Ducky. And it's a demo for a demo, that's cool, but I would have liked it better if Ducky backed up a little bit there and at least let Dummy be out of the mid fight for a little bit, even though he would have had the health pack and the medic right there. But still, so demo for a demo, it's okay, but let's see how the rest of this mid plays out. And actually, I don't like this mid at all, and I'll explain why in a second. So I'm going to unpause here. And now Justin goes really, really aggressive on their medic and dies as they... Now both teams are kind of blobbing right now. And then Relic goes really aggressive on EX's combo and dies. Let me pause. So after the demo's trade, Justin goes in on their medic and tries to get a kill, and he didn't get the kill. And a scout being aggressive there, it's okay. It's not a horrible idea, even though Classic Mix-Up was blobbing there. So Justin would have had to land like 2 really good shots on Classic Mix-Up's med, assuming that like he doesn't hide behind like his own allies, which I'm sure he did. So that would have been very difficult, also while getting shot at. So he died, which I personally didn't like, because I think that it would have been easier to just play blob versus blob and hope that you would win there, instead of risking it on just diving in and going in for the kill, at least by yourself. If you want to go in with someone else, that's cool. And maybe that was a false communication, but regardless, that wasn't a... I didn't like that. I'm just going to say that. So then Classic Mix-Up was winning in numbers. So then Relic goes in, and he does deal damage, but he dies, unfortunately. And so that's not cool. But then, right after that, Classic Mix-Up gets a scout pick. So it's just back and forth and back and forth on, hey, let's be aggressive. Okay, we got a pick. Hey, let's be aggressive. Okay, we killed the person that's being aggressive. Hey, let's be counter-aggressive. And I really, really don't like this mid at all. So I'm going to unpause here again. And now EX is in trouble. Now, this sucks for Experiment, because not only are they losing in numbers, but they were actually very, very weak, to the point where they had to back up. And I'm actually just going to pause here. This is going to be the conclusion of everything. Not only did they have to back up because they were losing in numbers, but they were weak, and they really couldn't do anything. What that does show is a few things. One, Classic Mix-Up did some sort of talking, I'm sure, during that halftime to decide, hey, we need to stop losing mids and we need to start winning mids. And regardless if one team made a mistake that let another team win the round or whatever, in this case, let's just say EX made a mistake that let Classic Mix-Up win the round, that's going to be a huge psychological factor in the mind of Classic Mix-Up, because they talked about it, and then since they won this round, they're like, hey, we're doing this right. We can hopefully win the next few rounds. And I think that's very important, because Classic Mix-Up, I think, even won the next round as well. Or they won the next mid, I should say, as well. Actually, I think the next mid was very drawn out. But that's the big thing, is that you really, really, really need to discuss, hey, we need to stop losing these mids. Why are we losing these mids? And blaming other people is not going to do anything. You need to be very constructive about it, and you need to be very chill about it, to be honest with you. So why did Classic Mix-Up win why did they start doing better pretty much every single mid from the beginning to this round? First, I think they were just kind of getting a feel for how EX was playing, because EX played pretty much the exact same way the whole entire time. They were kind of just letting Classic Mix-Up make the move, and then EX kind of just counterattacked or moved back in or reacted to how Classic Mix-Up was playing. Classic Mix-Up kind of realized that, and I think they tried to counter that with the ultra aggressive strat in round 2, which didn't work because I think they were, again, Classic or EX was just waiting for stuff to happen. And I think because of that, that led to Classic Mix-Up to think, hey, if they're kind of wanting to play or react to how we're playing, then I think we need to probably relax a little bit and just play more of a neutral ground, because EX was winning and reacting to what they were doing. And if Classic Mix-Up, which in the 3rd and 4th round, if they just do nothing practically, and just relax and chill, exactly like what EX is doing, they were just relaxing and chilling until something happened, then I think it's a much more of an easier fight to fight than to go against someone who's just waiting for you to do something and then come back on top of you. I've seen the hardcore aggressive strats work before, so I'm not saying that Classic Mix-Up's aggressive strats were bad on this map, but I think it's I just think it's one of the things that certain strats work against certain teams, but I just don't think that was going to work against EX in this match almost at all. They were very prepared for it. And that's really it, guys. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while. I'm going to get back on it. I've just been really, really busy as of late. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, just leave them below. Hopefully this gives you a slight insight on what to do and what you should be doing, not only on Snakewater, but on maps in general, on how to analyze what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and how you should be talking about it. And yeah, just make sure communication is a really big key, not only while the mid is happening, but at the end of the round. You need to discuss why certain things worked and why certain things didn't. And that'll do it. So I'm TheFragile from My Gaming Edge, and